I'm coming to save you, Jill! Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are reviewing the brand new Resident Evil movie, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. This is the newest Resident Evil reboot in the franchise. Now to give you a little quick synopsis on my Resident Evil fandom, I am a casual Resident Evil fan. I played all of the main continuity games, haven't played the side stories like Revelations or Zero or anything like that. Just played 1 through 8. And 1, 2, and 3, I've only played the remakes. I haven't played the originals back on PlayStation 1 and 2. So, very casual Resident Evil fan. And I do love a lot of the games. My favorite's Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 2. Those two are always constantly fighting each other for number 1. So, I'm a very casual Resident Evil fan. And I've always been very hesitant to watch the Resident Evil movies with Mila Jovovich because they just look shitty. And everything I've seen from those movies, even though I'm not a die-hard Resident Evil fan, everything I see from those movies, they just piss me off. Like the Nemesis thing in the second movie, the ending of Resident Evil 5, and then them all dying at the beginning of Resident Evil 6. It just... I'm not even a die-hard Resident Evil fan, and just as a casual fan, those movies already piss me off, and I haven't even seen them. I've just seen aspects, and I know things about those movies, and I'm just like, I'm not going to watch them. There's no point. They're just going to piss me off, and I don't feel like watching them. So I was actually really excited for this new Resident Evil movie because it said it was going to be more faithful to the games, it was going to be more accurate to the games. They were going to combine 1 and 2 together, which I thought was a bad idea. We'll go into why I still believe it's a bad idea. So, what are my thoughts on Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City? Starting off with the positives, I think it's a very good Resident Evil adaptation. For me, having compared it to the Mila Jovovich movies, I think this one is good. I do think it's a very good adaptation. They recreate this almost the exact same shots, like the mansion shot and the RPD shot. All of those spot on to the fucking game. Spot on. I mean, literally felt like the controller was in my hands and I felt like I was playing the game. Now, I do know more about Resident Evil 2 than I do 1, so if I don't talk about a lot of Resident Evil 1 stuff, is because I don't necessarily like Resident Evil 1. I think it's a great game. It's just I prefer more 2 because I love Leon and I love Claire than I actually do Jill and Chris and all that goes on in the first game. So, if I talk more about RE2 stuff than I do RE1, I apologize. I just know more about RE2. So, but starting off with that, the attention to detail, I love them. I thought they did an excellent job with the zombies themselves, with recreating the sets themselves, with talking about certain events that do happen in the first game and the second game. I thought they did a great job, actually, with that whole aspect. The characters themselves, now, I like Chris and I like Claire. Chris and Claire, I think they did an amazing job. I think Robbie Amell did an excellent job as Chris Redfield. Claire, I thought they did a great job with Claire as well. So those two characters, we'll talk about the rest of them later, but those two characters I like a lot. I thought they did a really good job. So scenery, great. Characters, great. The story. Now, as a Resident Evil fan, I know the story. I know the story of the G virus and the T virus and all that happens in the first 2 games. But someone who hasn't seen or played those games, I don't necessarily see you enjoying this movie because it does very much lean on your knowledge of the Resident Evil franchise because it's such a rushed movie that it's very much, if you don't understand Resident Evil the games, then you're probably not going to like this movie, or at least enjoy this movie, because it very much piggybacks on your knowledge of the franchise, so you can fill in these blanks because I know them from the video game. So, that was a little... As a fan, I can patch those holes in, but as other people trying to get fans into this franchise, I don't see this movie being something that non-fans can watch and enjoy, unlike us, the fans. So, but positives, loved the scenery, loved some of the character adaptations, loved the zombies. I loved the little zombie dog. That was really cool. The zombie dogs were cool. The aesthetic of this movie, I really enjoyed. The aesthetic. It very much felt like the very first 2 games, that very creepy and eerie, very tight tension. Like, for example, without spoiling, there's a section in the movie with Chris Redfield I absolutely loved. Love that section. That's my favorite section of the whole movie, is when Chris Redfield is going through this section of the mansion, and all you see are the zombies that his bullets are just projecting. And it's a dark room, and the only light he can get is from his gun. It's such a cool scene. And then he pulls out his lighter, and his lighter will turn on and off, and zombies are flashing in and out of the light. It's really fucking cool. It's literally one of the coolest scenes in the whole movie. That whole section was beautiful. I loved it. I thought that was a really cool section, and it literally felt like the tight tension of the first game, where you're like, holy shit, I ran out of ammo, my lighter, oh my god. It felt like that. It felt like that claustrophobic tension of the first game, and I really enjoyed that scene. Now, going on to some of the stuff that I don't like in this movie. We're going to start off small, because I have a lot to say about the big. Small. When they announced that they were doing the first 2 games together, I immediately knew what was going to be a problem, and it was a problem. Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 are fighting each other for screen time the entire time, and it comes off very much like, I want to look at the RE1 stuff, this is so cool with the mansion and Chris and Jill. Oh, okay, we're back over here with Leon now. Okay, Leon, the RPD, also. Okay, we're back over here, and it's like, there's so much story over here to talk about, and there's so much story over here to talk about, and when you're literally just slapping them together, it's like, I'm trying to enjoy the fan service from RE2, and I'm trying to enjoy the fan service in RE1, but I can't because it's just too fucking much. It's just way too much. So, it's a little, I wish, and I don't understand why they didn't do this. Just do RE1. Just do Resident Evil 1. If it's successful, and if it's good, then you do your RE2. And then at that point, you have 2 movies, kind of like Halloween and Halloween 2, where you have 2 movies that take place on the exact same night together, and you can watch them back to back. Just like Halloween 1 and 2. Why couldn't you have done that? That's how the games do it. RE2 is supposed to take place, I believe, the exact same night as Resident Evil 1, if not, maybe a few hours differences. But why not do that? What's wrong with that? I don't understand why they couldn't do that. It's literally a no-brainer. Do RE1. It's successful. Do RE2. And make them take place on the exact same night. Then you have one long fucking movie. Just like the fucking games. I don't get that. I don't understand. Maybe it was the director or the writer who just loves RE2 so much and just wanted to do RE2. I don't understand that. Because, especially when you get to the ending of this movie, if you've seen it, where the fuck are we gonna go? There's no way they're gonna adapt RE3. There's no fucking way. So, where are we going to go? Where are we going to go in this movie? If this movie is successful, which I don't believe it will be successful. They dropped it a day before Thanksgiving, and marketing aside, that's just stupid. But, where are we going to go? Where are we going to fucking go now? You just did what you did in the 3rd act. Where the fuck are we going to go in a sequel? Because you can't do RE3. RE3, there's no fucking way. And you can't jump to RE4, because what are you going to do with the other characters then? Because RE4 is about Leon. You can't just neglect Jill and Chris and all that. So what the fuck are you going to do? So, I don't know. Maybe this was supposed to be a one and done. If that's the case, cool. You should have just said that from the beginning. But if this was successful, I don't know what the fuck we're going to go. I have no idea. So that was a stupid idea in my opinion. Combining two games together, I think is a dumb idea. I still, even now seeing the movie, I still think it was a dumb idea. I feel like they should have breathed on their own. RE1 and 2 should have breathed on their own instead of putting them together. Because if you put them together, this is what you get. You get RE1 is trying to fight for screen time, and RE2 is fighting for screen time, and it's like, duh, it's too much. You should have just let them breathe on their own, made 2 different movies, and made them on the exact same night. And then it could be like a Halloween 1 and 2 situation. That's what you could have done. That's what you should have done. Outside of that, outside of Chris and Claire, they did, I wouldn't say an awful job, but they did a, you got all this fan service with the Easter eggs and the callback and the RPD and the mansion, all of that. But you can't do the characters justice? Like, fucking Wesker's not Wesker. That is not Wesker. What I just witnessed in that movie was not Wesker. What the fuck was that? That was not Wesker. That was a jokey, pranky, wannabe Ryan Reynolds Wesker. And that is not that is not fucking Wesker. And then the fact that what they do with the character towards the third act, it's like, what the fuck are you gonna do with Wesker now, huh? So, I don't know. Wesker was a huge... That was not Wesker. Same thing with Jill. Now, the actor... I know a lot of people were giving the actress flack because she doesn't look like Jill. That's not the problem here. I mean, like, we'll get on to later, but this is just a little tangent. Leon looks like Leon. He has the vest, he has the badge, but he's not fucking Leon. That is not Leon. So just like Jill, she does not look like Jill. She doesn't have to look like Jill. She doesn't have to wear her little skirt and her purple tank top or anything like that. But she didn't act like Jill in this movie. That was not Jill. I know that's supposed to be Jill from RE1, not RE3, but still didn't act like Jill. She didn't have her little fucking cap. She didn't act like Jill. She didn't even fucking look like Jill. So, at least the dude who played Wesker, while not being Wesker, he does not look like Wesker. He does not act like Wesker. I can see the resemblance of Wesker. I can see it a little bit. He put some shades on him, give him that little haircut, bam, it's Wesker. But he doesn't look like Wesker in this movie. He doesn't act like Wesker in this movie. So that's not Wesker. Same thing with Jill. She doesn't look like Jill. She doesn't act like Jill. And how is that Jill Valentine then? So I don't understand. They did a great job with Chris and Claire because they look like Chris and Claire. They act like Chris and Claire. All these other cast members, they don't act or look like them. Besides Leon. Leon looks kind of like Leon, but he doesn't act like Leon. That's what pisses me off. So with Wesker, doesn't look like Wesker, doesn't act like Wesker. Same problem with Jill. Doesn't act like Jill, doesn't look like Jill. So you have two characters that I'm like, these are supposed to be Wesker and Jill? They don't act like Wesker and Jill. So, and then the third one that really fucking pissed me off was Leon. That was not fucking Leon, what I just witnessed. That was not Leon. Leon does not act like that. Leon does not talk like that. That's not Leon. And as my favorite Resident Evil character, Leon S. Kennedy, that is not fucking Leon S. Kennedy. That is not. I don't know what the fuck that was. So, I'm like, what is going on? That was such a huge fucking middle finger. You give me all this fan service, then you give me a big ass middle finger with Leon? One of the most iconic, I would damn near say the most iconic character in the entire Resident Evil franchise. Everybody knows what the fuck Leon S. Kennedy looks like. So, and the fact that you literally treated him like he's not Leon. That's not that. What I just witnessed in that movie was not Leon. That was a slacker, lazy, fucking stupid Leon. I don't know how else to explain it. The clips I've seen of Leon in the Mila Djokovic movies acts like Leon a little better than this Leon. And that's... what the fuck? That's so disappointing. So, outside of Chris and Claire, the rest of the characters, they don't act like them and they don't look like them. And it's so... what the fuck? Especially Leon. Leon pissed me off the most. Because that is not Leon. I'm sorry. It's just not. I think the dude did very well as Leon. But he doesn't act like Leon. He doesn't look like Leon. So I don't know how else to feel. When you don't look like the character, you don't act like the character, I can't sit there and enjoy the character that I know from the games. That's just impossible. So, outside of the characters... outside of the RE1-2, outside of the characters not acting like the characters, and the ending was just so abrupt. Like, they literally just, big third act, okay, we're over. And it's like, whoa, okay. Literally. You couldn't give us maybe three or four more minutes to resonate with these characters some more, maybe set up a fucking sequel or something. Just credits. Mid-third act, it felt like. Mid-third act. So, the ending was abrupt. Most of the characters, besides Chris and Claire, are not the characters from the games. The RE1, RE2, putting them together was still retarded. I still don't like that. It was this close. And again, I haven't seen the Mila Djokovic movie, so I might watch those movies and maybe love this movie a lot more. But this is the very first Resident Evil movie I've ever seen, and we were very close. We were very close. I would say Mortal Kombat did a better job at adapting the video games than this movie did. This movie had potential. This movie very much had... it was like 75% there, but you're missing about the rest. So it's very disappointing. I'm very disappointed.
I forgot to talk about Lisa Trevor. I was going too much on a rant about the characters and everything else. Totally forgot to talk about Lisa Trevor. So Lisa Trevor, I've always enjoyed Lisa Trevor. I always thought she was a good companion piece to the first Resident Evil game. And to be honest, her backstory is very tragic. But I thought she looked very good in this movie. Her practical effects looked awesome. The actress who ever played her did an awesome job. The aesthetic of Lisa Trevor was great. I think they captured the look perfectly for Lisa Trevor. Now, just like everything else in this movie, Lisa Trevor also disappointed me. They didn't go into her backstory whatsoever. They didn't even talk about or hint at or anything about why she looks like that and why she acts like that. In the games, it's because she was experimented on by Umbrella, and it was a very tragic backstory. And I think it missed a big opportunity to make this character very sympathetic for audiences who don't know Lisa Trevor, because again, she does have a very sad backstory. And another thing is they messed up her backstory too. Like the backstory they tried to give her, they kind of messed it up a little bit because she doesn't stay at the orphanage. She's not even a part of the orphanage. That's in Resident Evil 2. She lives in a cabin. I wouldn't even say a cabin. It's like a broken down shack, basically. She lives in a broken down shack 2 or 3 miles outside of the mansion. So she doesn't even live near or not even close to the orphanage. So it was disappointing that they captured her look perfectly and they did her adaptation perfectly, but they couldn't do her backstory and they couldn't do any details about her. She was kind of literally in the movie for what, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and without going into too specifics, but there's a scene involving her and a liquor that I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about that. It was a very weird scene to see Lisa Trevor doing that, and I don't know how I feel about that. But just like everything else in the movie, I was very disappointed by Lisa Trevor. I think they missed a big opportunity to make her a really good standout character, very sympathetic for audiences who don't know Lisa Trevor, and just do Lisa Trevor properly, because she does have a really interesting backstory. She does have a really sympathetic backstory, and it's just I think she's an awesome addition to the Resident Evil franchise, and I think they just missed a big opportunity to shine her. To shine a light on her.
But yeah, as a fan of the video games, I am very disappointed in this. This had so much potential. This had so much going for it. Again, they were literally 75% there. They were almost there. They just had to fix a few things, and this could have been a really good video game adaptation. But it isn't. I mean, again, I haven't seen the Mila Djokovic movies, but I would say this is not a bad adaptation. I've seen very much worse video game adaptation movies. But again, this could have been so much better. So if this does get a sequel, I want them to fix a lot of things. Because clearly you can tell the people who made this movie are fans of the games. They literally recreated RPD and the mansion and tried their best with the characters. Only 2 of them. They tried their best. And I think they did, again, like I said, a 75% job. I really do. I think they tried their best and they did. They almost hit the nail on the mark. And I think a sequel could maybe fix some of these issues that we have. I mean, hell, if fucking Mila Djokovic's movies could get 6, we could definitely get a sequel to this movie. So, I don't know. Again, I'm a casual Resident Evil fan, so I'm sure there's some diehard fans who fucking hate this movie, or they might love this movie. I don't know. As it stands, I thought it was okay. I thought it could have been a lot better than what it was, and hopefully a sequel will actually fix some of these issues. Because, again, it is a good movie. It is a good adaptation, and it's very faithful, but you're missing a lot of key things about the games that honestly I don't understand why you can't why you can't fix those. So, but no, as it stands, I think Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, I give it about a 6. Not terrible whatsoever. As a person who plays the video games, a lot of wasted potential here. Some very good adaptations of the mansions and some of the settings and most of the characters, but you really fucked up on the putting up RE1 and 2 together. That was already your big misstep. Then you mishandled three of the most important characters in the RE franchise, Jill, Wesker, and Leon. And the ending just felt so abrupt, and you literally pigeonholed yourself into a corner because you have no place to go after this movie. After this movie, there's no way you can do RE3. There's no way you can do RE4. The only thing I know you can do is jump all the way to RE6 and maybe start from there. I have no idea. So they pigeon themselves in a corner with the ending of this movie because there's literally no place to go outside of literally skipping a few games in this franchise. So again, not terrible. I've seen worse movies. I've definitely seen worse video game adaptations, but as it stands, it's a very big disappointing because, again, I am a Resident Evil fan. I do love this franchise, and I was hoping this would be the new Resident Evil franchise reboot series that would actually be faithful to the games and that I could maybe get into, because I'm not watching those Mila Djokovic movies. I'm just not. So, but anyways, you guys tell me down below what you think. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let's find out. So put your opinions down in the comments below. Remember, and like, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and as always, see you later.